I do want to say, this is like a quick little casual note. Whenever people say that like frame rate doesn't matter, it's usually like hardcore Nintendo fans that are saying this kind of thing. That like, oh hey, a console doesn't have to be powerful, like da 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 da. I used to not try to get involved myself in that conversation because I thought it was dumb. But the more and more I realize that the people are saying dumb shit and getting paid for it, so I'm gonna say my take anyway. Fuck it. That's a really fucking dumb thing. Like, it's okay to have games that do not run at these frame rates. That's perfectly fine. It's okay to have games and have hardware that is not up to the standard, but it is not okay to treat it as if that difference does not matter at all. Like, yes, the fuck it does. Even if a game doesn't have to necessarily run at 30 to be optimal. Like, a game starts off being made for 30 FPS and then eventually gets upgraded. So we prove that the first iteration of the game is perfectly viable, fine, playable, perfect. It has got an upgrade later on. Case in point, The Last of Us. The original version on PS3 was 30 FPS, the remaster was 60. That's all fine and good. But like, don't act like that shit's not a fucking upgrade. Don't act like you don't see that shit. And so many people act like, oh hey, I can't even notice it. Yes, the fuck you do. There's no way you don't. I promise you, you're wrong. Maybe you just haven't seen it side by side for the first time, and that's fine. Look at it side by side. Watch a YouTube video. It takes 7 seconds to watch. You can see the difference. It's there. It's there, and you can maximize your own experience with any consoles you get or any PC you get if you learn about these things, and you can see why these things matter and appreciate your games a bit more. But nobody wants to do that. Yeah. So like, see, he gets it. Even if like there are frame stutters, I think that that's fine. Like if a game is trying to make a certain frame rate but can't because of hardware, so long as it retains a certain minimum, that's okay too. One last thing to that, don't forget too that there are games that like are choosing a sub 30 or sub 60 frame rate by design choice, like taking PAL and the 50 hertz thing out of the equation. I'm sure there's like Cuphead. Like I think that game runs at 60, but they had to navigate their art style in a very specific way to make it look good at 60. Original cartoons that were made in like the 30s or whenever were not running at 60 frames per second. They could not possibly manage that, so they had to get creative and make their shit look right under that. That required probably an enormous amount of calculation with that shit. I think that's TBH if a stutter happens. It's at the part that matters 9 out of 10 times. It is bad in that sense. Yes, no, that's a good point. I was gonna say like it's not always the parts that matter. Sometimes it's just general, but that would just be kind of worse. So yeah, no, you're kind of right. Get the idea that the temp matters. Yeah, the temp very much matters. If it can run on mid-range gear, that's commendable. Yes, the fuck it can. Yep. Yes, it is. And then we have the issue of some games even being like determining whether or not it can even run on the hardware in the first place. Like, for example, I wouldn't have thought that Persona 5 can run on the Switch. I would not have thought that maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I knew it was able to push PS3 level graphics. I did not think it'd be able to do it reasonably with a properly designed port. Same thing goes for Doom and Doom Eternal. So like being able to even try to get some games to run on certain hardware is something important to consider as well.